Where does Deshaun Watson figure into all of this? We all are reading about the sordid accusations that are being hurled in his direction, and the sheer volume of it makes all of us sit here and think, well, some of it's got to be true, right? Even though none of it may be true or all of it may be true. He's being caught in this tidal wave right now. But to me, I mean, this removes San Francisco off that board. If the Jets said no to this, or at least said, you know, we're trading Sam Darnold, maybe they're off this board. Did the Niners ever reach out? Because they, you know, the 3 1s and a 3 is exactly the construct one would say of a deal that might needed to be added to prior to everything going on with Watson's off the field stuff, to use the phrase. Yeah. What do you think here?
Well, everybody's gotten the same answer from Houston, which, you know, at least leading up to the legal situation, the answer teams calling the Texans got from Nick Caserio, the general manager there, was, you can ask me about anybody but the quarterback. You know, we're open to talk about anybody in the roster but the quarterback. So they've been definitive with other teams for most of the last few weeks, last couple of months, that they, you know, aren't going to move Deshaun Watson. I also think it's really hard to have a take on this, you know, Rich, because at the legal situation, at least, because you're either A, indicting Deshaun Watson, which isn't fair, or you're B, not taking the, you know, accusation seriously enough if you have a strong take on it. So I think that's sort of put a lot of the teams in a position where they're sitting back and saying, well, we can't justify sending an enormous amount of draft capital to Houston to go and get this guy until we have clarity on the situation.
Right.
If you're Houston, you can't walk away from a 25-year-old franchise quarterback unless you're getting that in return. The one thing that's sort of interesting here, though, and I just kind of keep an eye on this, I think the Dolphins, you look at where they are right now, and their insistence on getting back up into the top 10, right? And their insistence on winding up with the 6th pick. And now they're sitting there with 6 and 18, and they've got a young quarterback they could deal. I just think it's interesting that, like, the Dolphins, who have been so good with their asset management over the last few years, and Chris Breer has done a fantastic job building up that war chest. You know, they have been, you know, in a lot of cases, if you look at it, a move back team, right? Like in a, let's trade for future assets, let's find value. And in this case, they were like, we'll go back, but we don't want to go back that far. So you sort of wonder now, if Deshaun were to come available, would that 6th pick now be a better chip to deal than the 12th pick? And if you combine it with another first-round pick this year, it's just sort of interesting that way. So I think Miami, you know, could be in it. I think the Jets would kick tires on it, although they seem like they're pretty happy with what they saw in Zach Wilson. So not sure how they compare one against the other right now. I mean, it's interesting. And San Francisco, of course, because now they don't have the future assets, would be one of those teams where you look at them and say, okay, they're probably not going to be in the running for Deshaun.
Albert Breer here on the Rich Eisen Show.
And I also, by the way, I would not. The two teams that I would not discount on that, that have obviously been involved from the start, I think are Carolina and Denver. I think those two teams are, you know, they're just very involved in everything quarterback wise this offseason.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.